is what it is. Okay. Okay, good morning. We are continuing Kuf Samech Tet. We are in the middle of Seif Yud Ches. We are in the middle of the Ramah, actually. We're about one quarter through the Ramah. It's, if you're looking in the Shach, it would be between, well, looking at the letters of the Shach, not the Shach. The letters of the Shach, it's right in between the Nun Zayin and the Nun Chet. Between the Nun Zayin and the Nun Chet. The Vilna Gaon is Nun Zayin. Okay. Or it starts as a period, maybe right after it says V'aminhag Kach, period. Umotar lelove liktzavim Yisrael Hasheni v'pachos af al pi shagoy noten lo yoter o sheyuchal lomar ani ekach chelik beribit haba min hagoy kol shavua. Okay, we also touched upon this before. When you have this shaliach, this agent, this middleman, again, so he's just working. He's just an extension of the lova in general. The main thing is the loan has to be between. It's all the same principle. The loan has to be between only one goy and one Jew. But this middleman, he's allowed to profit in between. He's working. He should profit. So he's making the deal, and he's just taking a cut from this ribis. But that's okay, because that's his cut. He's not... he's basically getting the cut, this extra ribis, directly from the goy. There's no halva and there's no ribis between the two Jews. He's just making his cut by the ribis being higher from what the goy is paying versus what the lender, the Jew, is actually receiving. And there's nothing wrong with that. Okay. Gam im yirtzu alove ve'amalve. Shelo yikach hamalve hasheni hamashkon liyado rak inechenu biyad halove hazeh shehilva alav lagoy shari. It's okay if the malve, the mashkon is in the hands of the shaliach. That's also okay. Again, the achrayut of the mashkon has to be in the hands of the love, the malve, the Jew. The Jew between the Jew and the goy. But the shaliach is allowed to hold the mashkon. It could be ki'ilu traveling the whole time. Or that's just where they're keeping it for safekeeping. But at the end of the day, the real achrayus is on the malva. Okay. All right. V'im hitnu ze'im ze shehamalva harishon. The malva harishon, I believe, is referring to the shaliach, lagoy, shehu hilva akshav mi Yisrael hasheni, who's the real malva. Yitchayev ba'achrayuso, hareshut biyadam, matne shomer chinam liot kishoel. Now, this shaliach could also have some kind of achrayus. So to keep it really simple, we said you have to have no achrayus. And that's because the loan is completely between the goy and the Jewish malva, not the shaliach. He's out of it because he's the one who's handing the money from Jew to Jew, and we can't have him, one of the main players. Otherwise, it'll be as if he gave the loan with ribis. So we say the achrayus has to be really with the malva, the Jew, not the shaliach. However, we allow him to have some responsibility, and in a way he should, because otherwise he can just steal or lose the money. So he has to have, but it can be on a level of just a shomer, and just has to be clear who, at the end of the day, that the goy really has to collect from the malva. He must get his mashkon, but the malva really collects his loan back from the goy. And but the middleman, he could take upon himself some kind of responsibility, like a shoel, even like a shomer, even like a shoel. V'yesh omrim da'afilu lahaknot halova ha'elu hamashkanot lamalva hasheni einot tzarich ela miyad shehamalva hasheni notin lo hamaot halva'a kanui lo hamashkan b'kol makom shehu. Now, so the Ramah adds, and it could be, the middle shaliach doesn't even have to actually give the mashkon to the hands of the love, to the malva, the Jewish malva, because he's taking, right, the borrower is the goy. He's taking the mashkan from the goy, giving it to the malva, the Jew, this Jewish shaliach, that you don't have to actually give it to him physically. As soon as he takes the money from the shliach takes the money from the malva to give it to the goy, automatically the mashkon that's in his hand, in the shaliach's hands, becomes acquired automatically becomes acquired to the malva. Right? Kinyan of a, right, it's not a mechira, but it's a kinyan of a mashkon. The davar Torah, because according to the Torah, ma'os konos, giving over a transaction just by handing over the money, that's enough to make the kinyan. It's a kinyan on the money, and it's a kinyan automatically on the mashkon, because it's all being done at the same time. V'af al gav de midarabanan by meshicha. Now it's true, midarabanan, we need to do meshicha. For this case, also you're also dealing with the goy, you're dealing with ribis. For this situation, right, it's not really an issue of mekach, of choshen mishpat. We're in Yoreh now. We're discussing for the isser of ribis. So anyways, for our purposes, once he just does a mashiach on the maos, really, or a kinyan on the maos, you don't have to also do a mashicha on the mashkan. Okay, so that's what the Ramah holds. Okay, fine. Now let's go on. Mihu tov shiaknelo ayedei acher. But he says it's better, definitely, to do a kinyan al yedei some other mashicha, either the mashkan itself, or some other kinyanag of something else, or you use another person. You use another person to be mizaka to him, and you lift it up, you use someone else to lift it for you, and that can also work. Again, it's a question if that works by a goy, but here you're doing it for the Jew. Okay, I don't know. V'ne'eman halo ve'lomar sheyesh lo mashkan v'ne'eman halo ve'lomar sheyesh lo mashkan migoyim ve'en tzarich lavirai lidvarav. Now this middle guy, this agent, if he's being honest, and then what he's really doing, he's just working as an agent, and the loan is really just between the goy and this malva Jew. So when this agent comes to the Jew, this lender, he's allowed to tell him, this loan is not for me, this loan is for a goy. And the lender is allowed to believe him. Now, if the middle guy is lying, he's taking it for himself, so then he's doing an avera. But mitzad the lender, he is allowed to believe him, and he's allowed to lend him with ribis and take this mashkon, even though he never met this goy. And fine. Right, we learned best for them to have direct contact, know who the person's name is at least, and to avoid certain issues that we mentioned before. And you can trust him, you can lend to him, unless you know he's a shyster, he's not so credible, and you know he's likely to be lying, and then you can't put yourself in a situation where you might be doing an Isser Daraisa. But if he's a kosher Jew, you're allowed to believe him and move on, lend to him, and it's okay. These are the main issues, main halachas. So the Ramah gave some heterim, and he says that's really the halacha, and kavar pshat minhag lahakel, and that's the minhag. So whatever I said before, the Ramah says, you could be so mechan, and fine. All right. But I'll just, on part of the Ramah, we already pointed out the Achronim did not agree. But that was in the beginning of Yerchet. Fine. V'kol ze lo mayri ela keshelo zakaf Yisrael shelo v'lagoy keren im ribit. Now, so if the zakaf Yisrael, that's when you combine the keren and the ribit together. When you say one, right? So everything we said now is if you didn't put it all together. You continue, the ribis continues, the interest continues after there's a transaction or a change of hands, or the loan's going to be continuing. Everything we said now might be a problem. When it's a problem is if the ribit, the interest is accruing after you change hands.
It's a standard rate. So as time goes on,
right, a normal loan where as the time goes on, exactly. That's when then it accrues. Exactly. That's what we said up until now. Aval. All these cases when it's even asr is generally going to become mutter. Im kavar zakaf Yisrael imagoy keren v'ribit biyachad. If the Jew and the goy already established how long this loan is going to be for, and figured out how much the ribis is going to be, and then came up with a price for the future. You're lending me $100 at the end of the month, let's say. You're going to owe me 110. So that means right now you owe me 100. If that's the agreement, right now, even if you give back the loan and you prepay, you still have to pay me that 110. So once it's already become a fixed number altogether, that's what it means. You come up with the amount of ribit until the end of the year. And as of now, he's already chayav this amount. Anytime between now and the year, then you have to pay back. And this is the amount with the ribis included. So then, keren shel Yisrael. So now, all of this is as far as any future going on between Jews over here, any future transactions, moving around mashkons, moving around halva, it's considered like a new loan with one keren, because it's already been an established amount, and now if you're going to take a loan now, the loan is more expensive now because you're taking it from the goy that already has a higher price. But now, at this point, it's like a loan for free, a new loan, and you have to pay the full amount anytime, and there's no ribis anymore. Bein shehilva ala mashkon or below mashkon, whether there's a mashkon involved or not. Asur lovot al zeh miyisrael chavero v'shialelo ribit min achov kol zman shalva gabei dahave ki'ilu noten lo haribit mikiso.
Paying the interest, paying interest on his own interest. It's not the guy's interest anymore. But now the guy just owes him a final amount.
Right.
That's it.
Okay. Well, you can't keep on paying more ribis, is what it's just saying. From whenever, from your own pocket, from Jew to Jew. Ach yim karenu lo stam. Just sell it to him stam, whatever the amount is. Ukisherotze lachzer likach chovo yachzer v'yekna mimenu me'at yoter mima shemachlo lo kafi erach haribit shehaya ra'ui la'alot alav. Oh wait, so I'm a little confused. V'aser, go ahead.
So the only thing that can be done, let's say it was set up that the guy owes the final amount.
Right, so there's a final amount.
So now the only thing that you can do is I'm selling you the whole loan. That's it.
Right.
You can do this, it's yours.
Right. So
and they can agree, or that they'll talk about that we'll sell it back.
Right, so you pay the full amount. Basically, what we said before. I'm having a little trouble reading it right now for some reason.
Sells them. The Jew 1 sells the Jew 2.
Right, the entire Karen Veribit together.
It's just selling it. There's no maybe.
Right, it's like selling a chov. You know, it's
up until now, we're talking about that whatever he just the guy pays. I got up until this point, and from this date forward until he pays it, you get it.
Right.
I'm not saying that anymore. Now I'm just saying you now own the phone. That's it. We're done.
Right.
And then later, in another year, whatever, maybe I'll buy that from you.
Right. You can always sell this loan, and then you can buy it back later, exactly, for less. Okay. Fine. It has to be a complete kinyan.
Is that done now? Later?
Right. It has to be a complete sale. Because the two Jews can't be wishy-washy between the two of them, because they can't be involved in ribbis. It has to be a complete sale if they're going to keep getting ribbis from the goy. We have to be v'yimkerenu lo b'derech haniskar. So you can tell him, listen, when it's time, we'll make a brand new kinyan, and I'll sell it to you then.
I don't
But
understand. So then you are talking. If he promises that it's not written in the Shah, then it doesn't count.
no, they're allowed to sell. You can't force him to sell, but you're allowed to sell, I think. And you're paying the full amount, and there's no, it's a full kinyan.
Yeah, but can you talk about now? Here, I'm selling you the boat. And later,
Yeah, you can talk about it. I think you can.
The person said you can't talk about it. You can't make up. Well, also awesome.
Yeah, I see.
You can't make it deny that you're going to do that, but you can. Apparently,
You can tell him that. You can tell him, don't worry. If you have the money, I'll want to do it, but it can't be an absolute condition. The guy can be able to renege, is what it seems. Okay. Ubechovot shel ashray. Now, if you have debts, they're often going to be loans. But anyways, you have debts. We're talking about the case we're talking about here is debts of non-Jews. That's what we've been talking about till now. So we're talking about chovot. Let's say it could be a shtar, it could be with witnesses or just ba'al peh, but there's a real obligation of a loan to pay back, and it's perush almana, it says here. Basically, you're basically trusting that he's going to pay you for it. Sarich, or you're going to make a switch. What you want to do over here is move the chov of a goy from one Jew to another Jew. And this is basically a case of ma'amet shloshtan. You have, normally a case is 3 people, and you want to be able to move the money that's owed, the debt, from one person to another person. And technically, according to the Torah, there's no way for that to happen, unless you can't just automatically in the air transfer a loan from one to another. So it's a takanas chachamim. Midarabanan, they said you can do it to make it easier for everybody, but that's what they want to do. So if all 3 are there and present and they agree to it, then that's your normal case of ma'amet shloshtan. However, there is no ma'amet shloshtan by a goy. Chazal only established this din derabanan, takana derabanan, by Jews. So here, it's not going to work. There's no way to normally transfer. You'd have to make like a new shtar, a new transaction, but there's no way to magically just move a chov from one person to another. So tzarich sheomar lo ata tiftor agoy bekach v'kach mikol v'kol ubekach v'kach ani koneh mimcha kol ma shani yachol lahotzi miyad agoy. So if these 2 Jews, the goy is not there, he doesn't know what's going on, and you don't want him to know what's going on. Basically, the 2 Jews are making a deal. One is buying the chov from the other one, but technically, it doesn't work. It doesn't work technically lehalacha. So what has to happen is the one who's selling it is basically telling you. One tells the other, "Listen, the goy owes you the money. Well, what's it called? You forgive him. So don't, because I'm paying you money now. So you forgive him. So you don't go collect from him. The goy will tell the goy that we did this thing, and the goy is going to think he has to pay me. So I'm going to go collect the money from the goy, and the goy is going to think that it was a proper. Well, the goy knows that we sold because I don't have the paper to show for it, or you'll tell him. So the goy knows, the non-Jew knows he has to pay me, or the guy who's buying the loan, the debt. So therefore, midine akum, it works. And he agrees to it, and everyone's happy. Everybody wants it. And so therefore, there's no gzela from a goy, because the goy, midine hem, it works, and he pays the money willingly, and everybody's happy. So that's, but...
So the first Jew is actually forgiving?
Yeah, the one who's selling it is forgiving the loan, and the other one is going to collect the loan that the goy wants to pay him, or knows he's supposed to pay him, but really, midin Torah, the goy doesn't owe him anything. But really, it's 100% mutter, and it's not even, let's say, Sidei Shamayim, because everybody wants this to happen, and it's, okay. Fine. Let's go to Yutet. Yisrael Abba Lechavero. I'm trying to think. I think it's good enough. Yeah, let's just go on. Yutet. Yisrael Abba Lechavero. Ve'amar lo halveni ma'ot al mashkenot elu, shehem shel goy, ve'halo velo. Basically, what's happening over here? These two Jews are not behaving. They want to make a loan from one Jew to another with ribbis. But they want to bring in, but there's no way to have a loan from a Jew to a Jew with ribbis. So what they're going to do, they're going to say, look, I have a friend. He's a non-Jewish friend. He's going to give you a mashkon. And the mashkon is going to come from the non-Jew. So they're trying to use this mashkon ki'ilu to make everything kosher v'yosher, but that doesn't work at all, because at the end of the day, the mashkon belongs to the goy, but who cares? You're having there's 100% loan, ribis ktsutza probably, or whatever the case is. It's a complete loan from Jew to Jew with interest, and the Jew is giving him the money, and the Jew is taking the money. The fact that you threw in a mashkon into the mix makes no difference. In fact, a goy could be an arev, but that doesn't help you. It still could be an issur d'oraisa. In order for it to be mutter to do a loan with interest with a goy, it must be a loan with the Jew to the goy, or a goy to the Jew. You can't, just the fact that you add a mashkan or an arev who's a non-Jew has no bearing on the ikar loan. I think that's says it pretty clear. So let's just read it again a little bit inside. So this Jew wants to borrow from one and take the mashkon from the goy, v'hamaot heim l'tzarech Yisrael, and the whole thing is l'tzarech Yisrael. V'hu ma'ala ribit mishelo, and he's paying the ribbis. O she'amar l'chaver alveni ma'os beribis, pay me money beribis, v'ani yishlach lecha mashkon ayidei goy, and I'll get you a mashkon collateral from a goy. A goy maybe a mashkon l'malva, and the goy even brings it himself. V'holi chamas alova, and he transfers the money to bring it to him. Tachbelot or sha'im hi zo v'lo yitol ribit klal. So this is a tachbelot resha'im, and it doesn't work, and it's ribbis. Want to stop?
Yeah.
Okay, fine.